Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is clearing his schedule. CBC chief political correspondent Rosemary Barton says her year-end interview with the Prime Minister has been cancelled. So too have his interviews with all other media. It comes as pressure mounts for him to step down following Chrystia Freeland's abrupt resignation. But as Ashley Burke tells us, Trudeau still has some support from within his caucus.
This House stands adjourned.
As Parliament's fall sitting ends, an increasing number of Liberal MPs say it should be the end of Justin Trudeau.
I believe there needs to be a leadership change.
Last night, Trudeau told disaffected MPs he's heard their concerns and would think about his future, but has said that before and stayed on.
The Prime Minister is living in a false reality. He's delusional if he thinks we can continue like this.
In the last 24 hours, half a dozen additional Liberal MPs have joined public calls for Trudeau to quit, even past offenders.
I've always been loyal to Mr. Trudeau. I think loyalty, though, is not a one-way street. I think he should reflect on his future.
A final straw for some MPs was yesterday's bombshell resignation by Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, after she says Trudeau told her she was being moved out of finance. A Liberal source told Radio-Canada that Freeland was told she'd be replaced by former Governor of the Bank of Canada, Mark Carney. But a source told CBC News Carney had not agreed to the move when Trudeau and Freeland spoke.
Whatever happened, the culmination was that she was treated very abysmally.
Liberal MP Anthony Housefather says Freeland's resignation letter was a call to action.
To me, it said, Anthony, you also have an obligation to speak out the way Chrystia did. What I think he should do for the best interest of the party and the best interest of the country is to resign as leader of the Liberal Party so we can select a new leader.
In another blow, the Liberals were defeated last night in a third by-election this year, this time in BC.
The Canadian people have basically been telling us for some time, the street has been talking to us, and they're saying that this leader cannot be supported. And we have to listen to that, and the Prime Minister has to listen to that.
But cabinet ministers and other MPs are standing behind Trudeau.
He has my confidence.
He's a strong leader. He's focused on delivering for Canadians.
I think all of us should be loyal to the Prime Minister.
The opposition seizing on it all.
What a mess. Yesterday was a gong show at the bottom of a dumpster fire, wrapped up in a cluster.
Let's call an election before the end of January.
Trudeau has to go.
The Prime Minister right now is facing a return to Parliament in the new year with no clear idea if any opposition parties or even his own caucus will support him. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
While also feeling the pressure in Parliament is the NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, saying he is calling for Trudeau to step down, but he has not confirmed whether he will vote non-confidence in the government. For more on this, I want to bring in Peggy Nash, who's a former NDP member of Parliament, where she served as official opposition critic in finance and industry. She joins us tonight from Toronto. Peggy, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good evening.
Let's get right to it. The Conservatives, the Bloc Québécois, all calling for an election, but not the NDP. So do you think the NDP will finally vote non-confidence?
Well, I heard the leader of the NDP, Jagmeet Singh, say that he no longer has confidence in the Prime Minister. However, there is no confidence vote right now. Because Parliament has just risen today and will not resume until January, late January. So this is totally in the ballpark of the Prime Minister. And he could, of course, step down and call an election at any time. He could step down and call for a leadership race. But if he does not, there will be more confidence votes when Parliament resumes. And as things stand, it's hard to see how if Justin Trudeau remains as leader, how the NDP can continue to have confidence in this government when clearly Singh has said he doesn't have confidence in the leader. So that doesn't make sense. But right now, there's no opportunity to vote for that.
So as you said, we'll have to see how things unfold in the new year. I want to ask you about something that happened yesterday, because Jagmeet Singh yesterday called for Trudeau to step down, but he has yet to comment on whether his party stands with the Liberals. So what do you think that means?
Well, the NDP has extracted some gains under this Liberal minority government. The NDP, which has been in the third or fourth, right now, fourth party status, it's hard to get anything done. I have been in official opposition. I've been in a third party situation, tough to get things done. But when you have a government in minority and you can negotiate with them to get things done, it gives you an opportunity to make change. And I think the NDP has done that. They have brought in the beginnings of a pharmacare program. They've created a dental care plan for millions of Canadians. They've pressured the government on better labor standards and more money for housing, a GST break. So I think they have used their fourth party status to the maximum. The question for them is, can they do anything more, or is this government so disliked now, so tainted, that it's difficult to see anything constructive?
On that
note,
note,
we're in a I was just going to say we're in a very difficult position right now with the threat of tariffs. I think domestic procurement is going to be very important. In other words, what I mean by that is buying things that Canadians build: trains, buses, ships, whatever, cars. And the government has the ability to do that, creating lots of jobs, boosting the economy. If the NDP were able to extract something like that and use their position, it might be worthwhile. Failing that, it's hard to see how they can continue to support this government when they can't support the Prime Minister.
So let's talk about that leverage, because calling for an election in the new year would mean the NDP loses some of the leverage that they have had with the Liberals. So how much do you think that matters at this point?
Well, I think the leverage has been very important in this last government. And let's hypothesize that the polls are correct and we're going to have a Conservative majority government. My guess is, and I have been opposition in a Conservative majority government, quite frankly, you don't get much done for New Democrats and progressive values that New Democrats support. I'm sure that weighs heavily on Jagmeet Singh's mind, that as there certainly is a lack of support for the current Liberal government, that in terms of the possibility of the Conservatives rolling back progressive gains that were made, and certainly the possibility of not making any further progressive gains, that's got to be a huge factor. And it's got to be weighing on Jagmeet Singh's mind.
Peggy, to that end, we have heard Pierre Poilievre criticize the NDP's relationship with the Liberals multiple times, calling it the Liberal-NDP coalition. What does the NDP need to do at this point to distance themselves from the Liberals?
Yeah, he called it a coalition, but the NDP didn't have any cabinet seats, wasn't at the cabinet table making decisions, but it was able to bargain and make concrete gains for people, which I think is significant. But, you know, right now we're in a difficult situation. A lot of Canadians are still feeling really squeezed economically. Working people, you know, this latest situation of ordering postal workers back to work. You know, there's a lot of people who are falling behind in terms of the affordability struggle. And now with this threat of tariffs, who knows what else a future Trump government is going to bring in. So what should Jagmeet Singh do? It's a difficult situation for him, because if he is viewed as remaining tethered to a government that is low in the polls, remains low in the polls, likely will get lower in the polls, that can be fatal. So he unless he can extract, as I said, more really substantive gains, he does need to distance himself from this government. He can do that by criticizing the government. But ultimately, the test for the NDP will come in a confidence motion, and the timing of that will be in the hands of the leader made with the NDP caucus.
All right, we will watch for that. Thank you so much. That was former NDP MP Peggy Nash.